Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of a podcast I've been trying to put together for the last year. It's been in my mind. I've really thought about it since December of 2022, and I'm just getting around to it. Hello, welcome to College Sucks, a guide to surviving and succeeding in your academic program at college. And I'm your host, Davia Samantha Davidson, a student affairs professional who's been in college all her life. So, this is our first episode, and I am super excited because the whole summer I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. This is important. I have something to say, and somebody can benefit from this. But of course, as self-confessed procrastinator, I'm like, tomorrow, next week. And here we are almost at the end of summer, and I'm just getting around to fully recording something. And I still don't know if this is going to be the first episode, but I'm just going to go with the same advice I give my students, just start. So here we are. So this is our first episode in my mind, and then we'll see if it's the first episode of the podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, because I still haven't figured out like where is this going to be, but let's go. Enough about me. All right, so this week we'll be talking about why even go to college. So when you're on Instagram, there are all these little polls that they do, and I find so many of them so funny, and some of them are really teachable moments and very interesting reflective points. All right. And so one of them that I saw recently, or that I see often, is what's the biggest scam? What is the biggest scam? And a lot of people say going to college. And I laugh, even though I've been to college 3 times, right? So I'm saying there's some truth to this. But I've been to college 3 times. I have an undergraduate degree, a master's degree, and a postgraduate diploma. So, yes, even though it's a scam, I have been an active participant. So there means that there is some value to this, right? There's still people who believe and accept that going to college might be important. So I thought that one of the things that would be good to explore is, why should you go to college? Like, why do you need a degree, or do you even need a degree? Why is it important? It's not free, at least, unless you are in one of those high-tax European countries or some parts of Asia, or even some rich Caribbean islands like probably Barbados and some of the Eastern Caribbean ones. But if you are in places like the United States, where they keep complaining about their huge student loans, and having gone to school there, trust me, I get it. It's a lot of money. So why should you take on that expense? Why go to college? I thought it would be important to explore some possible reasons why college makes sense. Not only if you're trying to make a decision about going or not going, but also as a reminder as to why you're there, or possibly a decision point, just in case you're like, I've had enough and I want out. So there are many reasons why going to college makes sense, and there are equally many reasons why it may not work for you. But I wanted to explore some of the reasons I thought, if I were giving advice to someone who asked, that college actually makes sense. So there are many reasons, but I'm only going to do 5 because nobody wants to hear a whole, spiel. This isn't a whole day thing. It's just, what are some good possible reasons? All right. So my first reason is that it's the thing to do. I say that to say a lot of people follow a particular trajectory. So you go to school, you complete high school, you may take a gap year, but you are going to go to university. So if you're from a family, and more people now are being second and third generation college graduates. So your parents probably went to college, or an aunt of yours or somebody closer to you had gone to college. Or at the very least, when I was in university or decided to go to university, no one in my immediate family had gone. So I didn't have that real life example. But when I was doing my A-levels, which are a set of exams you do in the Caribbean to get into university, you don't have to do it. But if you want to go to UWI, which is a 3-year university, you need to have those entrance exams. You need to have those grades. If you decide to go to a 4-year university, well, you don't necessarily need them, but you can still do them depending on your age. So my teachers, my lecturers, when I did my A-levels, all of them had gone to college. So that was the example I had. And then my classmates, that was what they were going to do. So I finished high school when I was 15 years old. There was absolutely no way I was going to enter the job market to do what? Actually, you have to be a particular age in Jamaica, where I am at, to be able to work. So there was no way I was going to leave high school and be able to just enter the job market, be paying taxes, be getting a salary, and that was going to be legal. I had to find something to do until I was at least 17 or 18 years old. So when I left high school, a 4-year college was not on my mind. As a matter of fact, they were in the city and I grew up in rural Jamaica. So there was no way I was going to go. Just, my parents were not about that life. My mother in particular. Even though I was a mature 15-year-old, you're not going to the city. And plus the university wouldn't take me anyway, because then you're a liability. So I had to go and do the exams that you need to qualify for university. And then I become a part of a group of other individuals who intend to go to university. So it was just the natural next step. And so many young people find that it is the natural next step without even thinking about it. That's what happens. You go through a particular pattern and track, and then the next thing is going to university. I mean, you don't want your friends to have some kind of idea or be earning some kind of professional qualification, and then you're not in that mix. So not to be left behind, because this was what everybody was doing. That was one of the reasons I went to university, and it's a reason to go anyway. You're too young, you won't be able to work. You might as well find something to do. And while there, you might figure out what you want. So that's reason one. Everybody's going, you might as well go. Reason two. Well, if you want to be a particular professional, I don't see how you're going to be able to achieve that without university qualification. I say that to say, well, I'm a trained teacher, but before I got my teacher qualification, I'd only worked in education. But if you want to advance, if you want to get your correct salary, you have to get certification as a teacher. Now, there are many other fields that require that. So we know them. The atypical doctor, lawyer, cabinet maker, Indian chief, like whatever those positions are, there's some in particular that you can naturally be inclined to and possibly figure it out. And I think more people are open to that now, because we have YouTube University and all these other open universities that you can go to, or you can get engaged in some form of apprenticeship where you learn. But for particular fields, you are not going to be able to enter them or to be able to be paid properly or even advance if you do not have the required certification. So if you want to go into even fields that are not necessarily degreed, but some kinds of certification, you are going to have to go to a school where you learn that. Because if you don't have that paper, that certificate, no one is going to trust you. And we're moving into the age of, we need proof. We need to know that you're an authority. We need to know that you're able to do this. So, yeah, if you want to be certified in particular fields or be able to position yourself as an expert, a degree is a way to do that, right? Where aptitude and interest merge, so should qualifications. Like you need to be able to say that somebody certified me that I'm able to do this. I say to my students all the time when sometimes they challenge me on something and I say, okay, I don't know everything, but I definitely know this. And there is one of the 3 universities that can say I do. Okay, so that's really important. If you want a particular profession, it may be the only way to get it. Another thing is that going to university completely opens your mind and it can change your life. So that's reason 3. Some of us are from very humble beginnings. Like in Jamaica, people hardly talk about it. Like, oh, when I was growing up, I didn't have this, because not many of us are grown up in middle class, upper middle class, or rich families. So if you're going to make something of yourself or to be exposed or to learn more, if you're from a rural community, a small town, university is really an avenue for you to be able to see the world and to learn more things. Think about different ways of doing things. And that was definitely one of the things I can swear by. Not that I was a closeted individual, not that I wasn't aware of things, because reading was one of my hobbies. So I read all the time. So I had an idea of the world through characters in books. Okay, I read a lot of books. But being able to experience them or to meet people from other parts of the world, from other socioeconomic backgrounds, from other religious groups, from other thought processes. You, depending on where you went to high school or did your qualifying exams or where you grew up or your level of exposure, university is a way to get that. I went to the University of the West Indies, which is one of 3 Caribbean campuses, and then they have campuses all over. So there's Mona, St. Augustine in Trinidad, and Cave Hill in Barbados. And then they split the professions that you want to pursue, the professional qualifications. So Jamaicans have to go to some of the other islands and other islanders have to come over. So in my first year of university, one of my roommates was from Barbados and one was from Trinidad. I had never been to any of those places. And to date, I've not been to Barbados. I've been to Trinidad twice. Well, 3 times. Okay. That's not about that. But one of the times, or the first time, was actually to go to that roommate's wedding. So there you go. Just being able to experience and see new things, eat different foods, hear different accents, think about things differently, or even seeing commonalities. Like my roommate was Catholic, so was I. So we would go to mass together, and sometimes she would be telling me, girl, it's Catholic, we don't do that. So even somebody to keep you in check, even though this was somebody who was at training. And then to hear new music, and we loved cricket in common. All of that, getting that kind of exposure. If I remained in my small community where I grew up, I would still be only seeing those things and experiencing those things through books or TV, but being able to real life, experience it. And then on top of that, when you earn your degree, you are qualified now. So it is more than likely, it is expected, not that it's easy, that you're going to get a job and that you're going to be in one of the higher or at least mid-level salary ranges within the country. Now, life has definitely changed since I went to university. You can make as much money as you want, whatever you're doing. Let's be clear. It's not to say that going to university guarantees that you will be making all the money that you want. I know hairdressers or hair technicians or hair crafters or however they classify or style themselves, professional in those industries who pull down more money than attorneys. I'm not kidding. Beauty and aesthetics is the big thing right now. That's what's making mad money. And there's no limit on how many you can work. Like court closes, and there's only so many hours you can work on a file or a document. there are places where you can get your hair done up to midnight. So how much money you can make, there is no limit. How many lashes you can do, no limit. So it's not to say that this is the only way you can make money, but it sure does help if you have a professional degree, that sometimes it does equal making a certain amount of money, which can elevate your lifestyle, which changes your life. I know a lot of times when you try to get a loan, at least in this country, I don't know how it's done in other places, but they'll ask you what level of qualification you have. To me, it's a very interesting question, but I get it. If you can go through how many years of university, that means that you have a degree, the potential to make money, the potential to pay back your loan, plus you understand how that works and that it must happen. So not to say that it guarantees anything, but it is a marker of something, right? So you meet different people, you have different experiences, you learn things about yourself. A student of mine was telling me about her cousin who went to university and who is a fencer. Okay, this is somebody from a rural community who went to university, probably only saw fencing. I mean, it's not a big sport here in Jamaica. On the Olympics, goes to university, and it's one of the co-curricular things that they're doing. She met her husband at fencing, yes, in the club, through a common interest. And now they're living their best life with their degrees, fencing in their spare time. If she had stayed in her community and not gone to university, what was the likelihood of her having that kind of experience? So it's not that you can't have experiences anywhere. You can meet your husband anywhere. I'm not saying that's it. But the type of husband, or the fact that both of you were there together, growing, like just like-mindedness, more likely in university. So that's another reason to definitely go. It can change your life. It can change your money, change your outlook. Going to college definitely has its pluses. The next thing is 4, it can improve your network. When I went to university, I went and I did a traditional degree. I did what I was good at. So I'm a bit of a nerd. I love to read. I enjoy research. And so a first degree in history came absolutely naturally to me. It didn't take that much effort. And at the time, I didn't know much about mindset and that you can learn anything you want to learn, really, if you apply yourself. So I just thought, let's do a degree in something I am naturally good at. So I did my degree in history. A lot of my classmates have still since gone on to be attorneys, journalists, people who work in financial institutions who currently hold senior positions. Some have gone into politics. Yes, some of them are member of parliaments, senators, that kind of thing. No, had I not gone to university, what is the level of access that I would have? I can literally say this person was my classmate. So it's not even like surface, right? And I mean, you can meet anyone, you can develop good relationships with them. But 3 years of university, getting to know someone, being your study partner, that's your network right there, right? If I'm being completely honest, I don't have, and I'm not coming off as a snob, really, but honestly, I only have probably 2 friends who do not hold degrees, close friends that know to some extent my business. I'm serious. All of my friends, whether I met them at university, yes or no, all of them hold first and second degrees, or at least 2 undergraduates. So they have a professional degree. That's your network. That gives you access. So even if you go to university and you don't finish, because there's so many people who go and they meet other like-minded people, they start a business and they're like, we're going to be making more money and getting ahead in our business faster if we just quit this university thing and jump into it. But they met there, right? There's so many examples. You could do a quick Google search, Facebook, WordPress, even Apple. All of these started with people who met in university. So not all of them finished, but that's where the connection was made. And so in terms of the value of your network, university is a great place to do it. So that's reason 4. Like, you want to be in with Flynn goes to UE. It's an expression, look it up. Flynn goes to university, not necessarily UE, but you get what I'm saying. All right. Reason 5, and for me, the final reason, go because you don't know what else to do. When you are unsure about something, I find that a good place to explore what you might be interested in is a place where there are many options. At university, no, especially, you have student services managers, you have career counselors, you have peer counselors, you have counseling groups, you have all of these clubs that you can join where you can really get a sense of what you're interested in, what you want to do, and who you are. And so it's a good place to find out. You can stay on the internet as much as you want. You can YouTube university. You can ask those who have gone. But I find that if you really don't know what to do, there is nothing wrong with going to university and starting, let's say, a liberal arts degree. Then while you're there, you can say, this is what I'm interested in. This is what sparks joy. And so, you can ask advice. It's just really a place where you can find your footing, right? You don't want to be out there just leaving it up to chance. You want to have some kind of direction. But if you are not clear, university is a good place to go and find clarity. I know persons who did their qualifying exams with me, started their undergraduate program with me, but then went into other fields. They decided to change their degree because they didn't like it. And being at university and meeting other people in other programs and even learning more, like, how much career advice are you getting in high school? And how much of it do you trust? Because some people are in schools where the expectations are, these are the areas that you must get into. There is no other way. My sister and I often joke that if we had our lives to live again, we want to end up at career day. And there are certain questions we're going to ask. She's going to ask, what can I get into that I can make the most money? And I'm going to ask, what can I get into where I can make the most money with the most time off? I mean, it's what sparks your joy. So you may not have gotten the kind of advice that you needed, but here you are at the place that you can see people who are pursuing degrees that you thought about or probably hid deep down from your parents because they knew exactly what they wanted to tell you to do. University is a place to see all the options, to have discussions with people in the field, to get the kind of support and counseling that you might need to make a decision. So that's my take on the matter. No, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what I would have wanted somebody to tell me when I was trying to make a decision. I don't regret having gone to university. I actually don't regret doing the degree that I did. It really fits into my interest. And even though I don't use it daily, I mean, I do teach history from time to time, and I can. I'm very good at doing research too. I find that I can find information faster than most people. And I sum all of that up to having done a first degree in history. I'm serious. It's really, really good training. You learn a lot of discipline. So University can give you structure. It can teach you a lot of things. You grow, you develop as a human being. It's a place to really figure life out. And even though it sucks, and even though it's expensive, and even though there are going to be moments where you're like, why am I torturing myself? It may really be worth it if you apply yourself properly and if you really try to figure out how you want to live your life. So, oh my gosh, look at that. I have recorded my first episode. Well, I think it's my first episode, so let's see. But I guess I should have some kind of sign off, right? So until next week, where we talk about something else and why, college sucks and how we can manage it. I'm Divya, and I look forward to you joining me next week. Bye.